Hey, honey,
Yes, Barry?
let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin mi naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I am your host, Barry Kessler, and I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants here in Puerto Vallarta. Those are the Lapa Lapa, the Dorado Restaurant, and at night for dinner, the El Dorado transforms into the ever-so-romantic Vista Grill, with those dramatic views of the Los Muertos Pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors. And of course, at Lapa Lapa, you can enjoy that same view of the Los Muertos Pier all day long for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's just so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week I have a couple of listeners, David and Lucia Garcia from Miami, Florida, and they're going to tell us about traveling with children in Puerto Vallarta. But before we get to that, let's see what's happening this week, the 13th of December, 2017. Attention coffee lovers, this is your chance to set a world record in Puerto Vallarta. I found this article in the Puerto Vallarta Daily News, and if you're in town this weekend, you might want to join in the fun. The article reads, the Coffee Fest Puerto Vallarta is to be held on December 16th. The event in which the city will seek to impose a new brand of people gathering for one purpose, and that is drinking coffee. The Germans currently have the Guinness Book of World Records of the most people drinking coffee at the same time. It was archived on August the 30th, 2009, when 8,162 people gathered at Jungen Park in Cologne, Germany, to drink cold coffee. Although it's believed that subsequent meeting in Colombia brought together more than 12,000 people, it was not verified. And that opened the doors for organizers in Puerto Vallarta who hope to summon 10,000 coffee enthusiasts to defeat the Germans here and impose a new record. So if you want to be part of this event, you need to register at www.coffeefestpuertovallarta.com and then go to the Malecon of Puerto Vallarta at 5 p.m. on December the 16th and be part of history. All right, see if we can break that record there. Anyway, the event is completely free. I have a link to the article and all the information in the show notes for the episode, for this particular episode of the show. So check it out if you're in town. Be part of Puerto Vallarta history and drink a cup of joe. Now, the 1-year anniversary of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show, I'm very excited about this. It's coming up at the end of this month, and I've been planning this year's upcoming shows, and I must say I'm really excited. I'm about a year or two, but I want your suggestions also, and so I want to know things like, who would you like me to interview? Where would you like me to visit? What would you like to know about Puerto Vallarta that you don't know about yet that I haven't talked about? You can do that by emailing me at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. You click on the Contact Us tab at the top of the page, of the web page, and send me a message. You can also find the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show on Facebook. So look for us there. You can send a message from there. We're also at Twitter at PV Travel Show. So I also, by the way, have a YouTube channel, believe it or not. Puerto Vallarta Travel Show has a YouTube channel. So you can check that out. You can send a message via any one of those methods, right? So you can send me from my website. You can send me a message through Facebook or the Twitter feed or through my YouTube channel. So it's all really easy to get in touch with me and to let me know what you want to hear about this coming year, okay? Okay, now, what are my plans for this coming year, you might ask? Well, think road trips, boys and girls. We're going to go up to San Sebastián de Este for a day trip. I'm going to take you on a cool day trip to down south to El Tuito and Maito and Taramixle. Then we're going to go to the north for a couple of day trips, one to all the way up to Rincon de Guayabitos, and then we're going to go down to Lo de Marcos and San Francisco, which is better known as San Pancho. You all know that. And down to Sayulita. That's going to be another day trip. And then we're going to do another day trip to Punta de Mita and La Cruz de Guanajuaxle and to Bucerias. So it's going to be a great year. I'm going to introduce you to people in all of those places that we're going to stop, some very interesting people. And, of course, I have set up some incredible interviews with Puerto Vallarta personalities, and it's just going to be a really, really great year. Remember, I need your help, so send me those suggestions, and I'll be looking for them. Okay, now I have a couple of events planned. First of all, I'm going to have my microphones over at JR's Meet and Greet at Kelly's Por Favor Cookhouse and Saloon on Tuesday, January the 9th at 5:30 in the afternoon. And by the way, you can see JR at his meet and greet every Tuesday. Now we are on standard time. We're off of daylight savings time, so he meets at 5:30 in the afternoon instead of at 6:30 in the afternoon. So even when I'm not there, you can see and you can meet JR, and JR will give you suggestions if you ask him, and just buy him a drink. That's what I do. Anyway, if you are in Puerto Vallarta on Tuesday, January the 9th at 5:30 or beyond, I'll be there. Stop by. Tell us what the heck you are doing in Paradise. And if you are a local Puerto Vallarta business, as I always say, please stop in and give a pitch to our audience. Right? It's free. It's a free pitch. I promise I'll be nice to you. I'll be really, really nice to you. And just come on by. Anyway, we always have a great time at JR's Meet and Greet. And by the way, speaking of Kelly's Por Favor, they just opened up a rooftop section at Por Favor's. It's really nice. So if you are going to be in town, stop by. Let's talk. Don't be shy. Come on down. Check out the new rooftop section there at Por Favor's. And if you are too shy to come on the show and talk, come by, stop by anyway, and just say hello, really. I'm also planning on setting up a table on the beach in front of Cuates y Cuetes, and I'm going to be inviting passersby to stop in and talk about what they're doing in Paradise. I'm going to actually go out there and grab people and bring them on the show. Now, I'm going to have a time and a date for that particular event next week, so stay tuned for that. But if you're planning on being in Puerto Vallarta the first 2 weeks of January, listen up next week, and I will tell you what that time is. Stop by, sit with me on the beach in front of Cuates y Cuetes, and then those of you who are at home, maybe you can catch us on the beach with the assistance of that Cuates y Cuetes webcam, which swings around every 5 minutes or so. And if you don't know about that, or you don't know about my webcam page on my website, you got to go to puertovallartatravelshow.com. At the top of each and every page, you're going to find the PV webcam page. You click it, and you can check out all these cool webcams that I have there from all over the Bahia de Banderas. And I have a link actually on that same page that will give you the time that the sun sets in Puerto Vallarta. So you can actually plan ahead every day if you want to and catch a Puerto Vallarta sunset right from the comfort of your very own bark lounger, really. So lots of people do it, and I do it. I don't do it every day, but lots of people do, and you should try it. It's lots of fun. Just mix yourself a cocktail and just pretend you're in paradise and sit on in your Barca Lounger and check out that webpage. It's a lot of fun. Okay, let's get to our guests and to our interview, shall we? I first came to Puerto Vallarta in December of 1984, as I've told you many times. I had just met my wife, who was my girlfriend back then, and we would return to Puerto Vallarta almost every year, sometimes twice a year after that. And after we had our first child, we did not let that deter us one bit. We took Zachary with us when he was 3 months old, and we stayed at Villa del Palmar, which is a timeshare property. It's a condo. We thought that it was a good idea to stay in something like that. It was geared for family traveling with a child. They had a kitchen and a separate bedroom from the living area. It had a restaurant on the property, a pool, there was a beach out front. Everything that we needed was there. And it was in the hotel zone. And at that time, we would rent cars. That was, before I learned my lesson. But we rented a Jeep for our stay that particular time. And we had our baby seat, which we strapped in, and it was ready for us to take on an adventure whenever we wanted to. And I recall one occasion when we were looking for a place to eat late one evening. We stopped at Daiquiri Dick's, and the ladies at the door asked if they could look after our baby while we ate. And we looked at each other, and we just couldn't wait to pass that kid off to somebody else. So we handed him over, and we had the most enjoyable, carefree dinner of the entire trip. Not once did we even wonder where Zachary was. Now, I remember also from that trip, one day that he was crying and crying and crying. I think he cried for about an hour, and we were fit to be tied. And then out of nowhere, a little Mexican lady came up and started to speak to me in Spanish, asked me how old the child was, and then she told me what to do. And then we handed her the baby. I don't know what she did, but she had the magic, and she just quieted him right down. I was so impressed. And then 3.5 years later, we returned to Puerto Vallarta. We were busy making another baby, and this time we had 2 boys with us. Zachary had a little brother, Jake, this time, and we stayed at La Jolla de Mismaloya, which is now the Barcelona. It's down in Mismaloya Beach, which is about 20 minutes south of Puerto Vallarta. And the hotel had an all-inclusive option, but we opted to go on the a la carte menu, and we did a combination of eating at the resort and taking a bus to get into town to eat. And it was only a 20-minute bus ride. You just cross the street, bus stop is right there, and we are on our way. We really, really had a great time. on that vacation too, even with the two kids. We did, however, have one little episode. We lost Jake. The day that we were leaving, we were all packed, and go figure, we lose this kid. Anyway, we were packed. We were ready to take the cab over to the airport, and we were loading our baggage into the cab and got distracted. And we turned around, and our little 2.5-year-old child, Jake, was gone. He just vanished into thin air. He was nowhere to be found. Well, you can imagine that panic set in, especially with Deborah. And, of course, we were all horrified because there was water all around, right? There were pools everywhere. The kid didn't know how to swim. Fountains, all kinds of bodies of water scattered all over the property. And for about 15 minutes, we scoured that property, asking along the way if anyone had seen a cute little boy with blonde ringlets and blue eyes wander by. Finally, Deborah found him, actually not far from where we were standing and loading up the cab. He was upstairs above the lobby being entertained by a member of the staff. Whew. Well, that was a close one, I'll tell you. It was a great way to end a perfect trip, right? Anyway, when you do take your children to Puerto Vallarta, you have to keep in mind that if you are planning on bringing a stroller, make sure that it's lightweight, that it's foldable, that it's carryable, because especially if you're in Old Town, there's uneven sidewalks, there's sidewalks with stairs built into them, the curbs are really high, the cobblestone streets are very bumpy. You're going to be doing a lot of lifting and carrying of that stroller for sure, so make sure that it's not one of these big Cadillacs. Get a nice lightweight traveling stroller if you can at all, okay? And also, if you usually travel with your child in a child safety seat in the car, you're going to need to determine what kind of seat you're going to be bringing with you for your trip, because you're going to be needing to strap that into taxis or into an Uber ride or something, okay? Remember, though, if you need anything baby-related or child-related, like food or formulas or diapers or anything like that, you're going to be able to find all of that in Puerto Vallarta. They have Walmart, they have Sam's Club, they have Costco, they have Mega, they have Lay's, they have Soriana, they've got corner markets. Everybody has got something for your baby. One thing that you're not going to have trouble finding in Mexico is baby supplies. I can tell you that right now. Now, all-inclusive resorts, at least the ones that allow kids, usually have kids clubs and activities for the little ones. You're going to need to do your homework. Make sure before you book that trip with little Junior to make sure that they do have things for kids to do on the property. Now, I was looking at my Twitter feed a couple weeks back, and I saw a group of tweets that were directed at me from a couple of listeners. I missed them. Anyway, David and Lucia Garcia were in Puerto Vallarta for the very first time, and they were with their kids. Anyway, I contacted them, and they shared some of their pictures with me, and I just had to have them on the show to let us know about their experiences in Puerto Vallarta with their two young daughters. So let's go right now to Miami, Florida, where I sent my trusty microphone, and let's talk with listeners David and Lucia Garcia and hear about what they did in paradise with their kids. Hey, David and Lucia, thank you so much for coming on the show with me.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Barry.
So tell us a little bit about yourselves. Was this your first trip to Puerto Vallarta?
Yes, our first trip. Well, at least for me.
Yeah, for me too.
Oh, okay.
I
Cool.
promise.
All right. So tell us a little bit about you.
I am from Nicaragua, and I was born there and came over to the States when I was 6 years old, to Miami, Florida. So I've been here ever since. This is all I know. And that's it.
And I was born here in Miami, born and raised. My parents are Cuban, and Spanish was my first language until I hit elementary school. And Miami's pretty Spanish speaking, so.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well,
Yeah.
this was both of your first trips to Puerto Vallarta. Where did you stay? What resort you stayed at a resort? Yes.
Yes, it was called
Garza Blanca. We stayed at Garza Blanca Resort. A friend of ours, a coworker of Lucia's, a good friend of hers. She has a timeshare there, and we didn't know we were going to vacation this year. We really wanted to go somewhere out of the country, and she offered it to us. She said, "Hey, I'm selling my timeshare for this year. It's at this wonderful resort called Garza Blanca." She offered it to us either in Cancun or Puerto Vallarta, and quickly we looked into Puerto Vallarta, and that's where we decided we wanted to go.
How did you like the property? What did you think of it?
It was amazing.
Really?
It was beautiful. Yeah. It was beautiful.
Now wait a minute. Now before we get into that, you went with your kids. So you got 2 young daughters, yes?
Yes,
Correct.
a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, 2 girls.
Oh wow. Okay. So what was that like? Was that okay traveling with them?
Well, yes, it actually went really well. It was a concern early on when we started looking, especially at the resort photos and information. We were there like, well, we were concerned it might be more of a couples resort, and it might be more of maybe a couples vacation area. But after investigating a little more, we found out that especially in the resort, that part of the resort is for adults only, but the area where we mostly spent our time was very family friendly, and we found there to be a lot of other little kids as well.
With their families, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Lucia. So you were saying you were starting to say it was fabulous. So tell me about it. What did you think about the property?
Well, it was beautiful. It was very what's the word? Like, I found it elegant, like very nice, very as soon as I got there, I started even questioning, like, oh my God, are kids allowed here?
It's very luxurious.
It's very luxurious. Yeah, it's very fancy. So I was very concerned about, oh my God, these kids, let's keep them in the, like go out for a little bit. But like my husband was saying, we found there to be a lot of families with their kids and a lot of activities on the property. We went on the property alone. There was kayaking, right?
Yeah, there was kayaking. They had a lot of water activities, and they also have like a natural preserve. If you go up on the mountain and hill where you can go hiking and you can see things, and all those things were family friendly, things kids would love.
Great. Okay, so were all the rooms like facing the ocean? What was that like as far as the accommodations? Did you get a chance to check those out, others as well as yours?
We weren't able to check others except for what we saw online, but ours did have an ocean view. It was beautiful.
With a balcony.
Yeah, there was a balcony, and it was just a standard studio room. What we got, there are options to get villas with kitchens and with living rooms and more amenities, but we didn't plan on spending much time in the rooms. So it was just a standard studio. It was a very big studio, very beautiful. And that balcony had a hammock in it, and
cool.
With that ocean view, and those sunsets were so beautiful. It was amazing.
Wow, that sounds great. Now, did the property end up being really, really kid friendly? Do they have like special programs for the kids?
I did see in the brochures and on the website that there were kids programs, like you could send them to like a club where there would be crafts and activities, but
right.
We never took advantage of those. Or
we were out and about adventuring out in the town. But yeah, on the last day before we left, there was like a piñata party, and my little one and I went out, and she got her face painted, and they had a little piñata party. So I guess they do have activities like amenities for that, but we didn't really take advantage of it.
So did that come with an all-inclusive kind of a plan, or did you just kind of eat off the menu, or what did you do there? How was the food there?
There was an option for.
There was an option for all-inclusive, but from everything we heard, either from your podcast or from anything else we read, everyone would recommend, no matter where you stay, not to do the all-inclusive. There's so much that Puerto Vallarta offered. And the kids was also part of that decision. The inside Garza Blanca, the restaurants did look very luxurious, very formal, and we wanted to have both options to be able to eat out. And we were kind of like touristy vacation, and we never went with the intent of having formal meals, like dressed up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. All right, so you took some tours. I was looking at your photos, and so tell me, what kind of tours did you take?
Well, the first one, which one was it?
Well, the first tour that we took wasn't expected. We weren't going to do it, but the resort offered it to us for free, and it was to go to a location called El Edén, which is a spring. And they have other canopy activities, and I guess a big portion of the movie The Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger was shot there. Mm-hmm. Part of that tour also took us on a bus tour of Old Vallarta. We did some shopping. We were able to go to some tequila tasting spots. And that was that first tour that we took.
Okay, so was that kind of like a tour that wasn't really a city tour, although it sounds like it did include a city tour kind of an idea in there, yeah?
It did. Like it took us to some streets, and we stopped at a strip where there was some stores.
Yeah, there was some shopping.
There.
And this was all where in Old Vallarta, if I'm correct, like the streets are cobblestone, and we're able to walk around and look at stores. And then the bus driver would give us, over the PA system, he was speaking about the area. Now the sound system wasn't very well on the bus, so there isn't much we could pick up, but it was just beautiful views we could just enjoy.
Nice. Okay, so that was your first one, and that was set up by your hotel.
Right.
Okay, and so I saw you guys did some ziplining. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that one we looked out for. We researched that one and went in with the desire to do that. That one was Los Veranos, was the ziplining, because there were other options, but like our youngest was actually 5 at the time. We celebrated her birthday over there, and they were the only ones who actually would have someone that young do the zip lining.
Ah, okay. All right. So that was you had age restrictions on that. How'd you like Los Veranos?
It was very friendly. Everyone was amazing. Like the staff was very friendly, very helpful, and
very entertaining. That's one thing I would say about the staff. It seems like they went out and tried to find the most charismatic tour guides. These guys and ladies throughout, these were 15, I think, no, like 20 as different zip lines through this canopy. And their personalities were able to easily make us feel comfortable. You can imagine there were lots of families there and people scared at these first few zip lines, but these guys were able to disarm us, make us feel comfortable.
Oh yeah, because we let our 5-year-old go off on some zip lining alone.
They sent our 5-year-old first.
and we were like, I hope she, waiting to see her on the other end. And they're like, she's gonna be fine. Don't worry. There's another staff member. And then I think there were like 15 lines that we did.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was between 15 and 20.
And by the third one, I think not that I lost my daughter, but I felt that, and I shouldn't let my guard down. I felt safe. You know that.
Sure. Yeah, you knew
Yeah.
you were used to it.
Yeah, like I was like, I guess, trusted the staff. Then.
Yeah, we felt very comfortable with them. Like the first few zip lines are very tame in comparison. And I think the way they had things set up was great because also it was concerned with small children hiking up these hills and these mountains to get one to another. It's like, oh, they're going to become tired. Are we going to have to carry them down? And they were able to get our kids and this entire group of people, must have been 30, 40, 50 people up and down that mountain effortlessly. They had this down packed. It was very impressive.
Wow. Okay. So Los Veranos, you guys, keep that in mind. And, I'm going to have links to all of these things that David and Lucia talk about on this episode in the show notes, of course. So you know where to find those at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com, all that good stuff. All right. Other tours. What else did you guys do?
Another tour that we took that wasn't planned, we just went to the concierge and we wanted to try different beaches, was that we went to some beaches, one called Playa, I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong, Mahahuitas.
Mahahuitas, sure, yeah.
And Playas Las Animas.
Very good.
And this was that just with the hotel, the Resort Garza Blanca, they, I guess, have prearranged prices set with taxis.
Okay.
So we're able to take taxis to a nearby location called Boca de Tomalang.
Mm-hmm. Boca de Tomalang, yeah.
And then there we were able to hire a boat taxi who took us to Playa Mahahuitas, and there we joined with this big group that was snorkeling there.
Ah.
There was a giant pirate ship. So you can imagine our kids saw that. That was really cool. And then they take us there, and it's just the four of us with the taxi driver and his son, a young child, also like about my youngest age. Yeah. And they feed the fishes around there to bring them out, and then we'll jump in the water and swim with the fishes. And it was beautiful seeing everything there under the water and seeing all the mounds that are right to the edge of the water. It was beautiful.
Yeah, the water's cool. So you guys got a chance to swim with the group there with the Margalante, and so you got to take advantage of all that cool stuff while with your launch guy, right? Your lancha
right,
guy.
The lancha. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very cool. All right, so you guys skipped in there and got yourself a tour, almost a tour by accident with those guys too, right?
Yes.
Right.
All right.
So we were there for a little while. We enjoyed it, and then he took us to Playa Las Almas, where there's an entire row of different restaurants right on the sand. And as soon as the boat is being docked there in the sand, a bunch of
different waiters
from the different restaurants come up and they try to entice you to go to their restaurants. And there was one of them, they seemed really friendly. We just went along with them. I wish I could remember the name. I think I might have put it on the photos, but all of them seem pretty much the same. They seem like family restaurants, and we just ate there. The food was great, and the service was friendly. We found
everyone to be extremely
in Puerto
friendly.
Vallarta. That's one of the things that we saw. Maybe it's because tourism is such a big thing there, but if not, maybe it's just the culture there in Mexico and Puerto Vallarta. Everyone was so friendly and welcoming.
Oh yeah.
And so we ate there and then just enjoyed the beach there, which that one was a beach that had many people in it, but it was still a lot of fun.
Right, yeah. Las Animas can get kind of crowded, you guys, because it's one of those beaches that is discovered, and it's a long beach with, as David said, lots and lots of these restaurants all set up, and some of them have hammocks, and some of them have like chairs, and just umbrellas where you can sit and eat. So really cool. So then you hopped on a lancha. Now the same guy to take you back, or
Yeah,
okay.
the same
So
guy.
he waited for you.
No,
Well, he actually left. He said, "Well, I'm going to be back at this time." We set a prearranged time.
and we were like, we started seeing everybody like heading out, and we're like, oh my God, I really hope he comes back. And we were just like, the last 20 minutes, he just kept going, I hope he comes, I hope he comes. But no, he came. He goes, don't don't think we forgot you,
Yeah. Oh,
So-
that's funny. All right, that's very funny. Because yeah, that could be scary if you're like the last one on the beach. No, it's all right. You guys are good. You guys are good. All right, and I know you took some more tours. So what else did you do?
The last tour that we took was one with a company called Vallarta Adventures, and it was our youngest daughter who she saw, I guess, a video on YouTube when we were researching of kids swimming with the dolphins. So she's like, I want to go swimming with dolphins, and they had an excursion that you can go and actually swim with dolphins, and that was amazing. It was a lot of fun. It's the location that they are, I guess, a sanctuary where they take care of dolphins and a lot of other sea life, which made me feel uncomfortable. I'm a big animal lover, so I'm concerned. It's like, are we going to go to this place where dolphins going to be mistreated?
Yeah.
But it was, they make you feel very comfortable and very that everything was on an up and up.
Nice. All right. So your kids loved it, I'll bet. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
they loved it.
And,
They loved
and
it.
you guys probably didn't have a good time there, did you? Yeah, of course you did. You had a great time there.
Of course, we had a great time.
All right. So, how long does that particular encounter with dolphins tour? How long is that?
I can't remember the exact time. I think we picked the longest one, which might have been like 45 minutes.
Right.
It's a set
Like a schedule.
encounter. Like when you come in, there's a training where they tell us about what's going to happen and what we should and shouldn't do. They take care of all the videography and photography. It will be an extra cost, which I think is totally worth it.
Okay.
But they don't want you to have your cell phone or any items on you that might hurt the dolphin. And then they have certain activities like there's going to be the photo op where the dolphin is going to kiss you on the cheek, and you're going to kiss the dolphin, and you're going to pet the dolphin on the belly. And then the last one is that there are two different positions where you get to actually ride on the dolphin. Dolphin will swim and bring you along, and that was a lot of fun.
Wow.
That was-
It's like Flipper World, right? It's like flip. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. Who'd have thunk, right? Was there any time when you thought that because you got little kids, so dangerous at all? No.
No, I didn't feel any concerns.
No, there with the dolphins specifically, no. Just like with the other excursion, the staff at this location made us feel very comfortable right away. And our kids know how to swim well. We've had them in swimming. But besides that, they make us wear vests, and that safety training really made us feel comfortable. And those dolphins were very lovable, very sweet. I couldn't say
Right.
anything bad about them.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. You better not, man. Come on. You said you were an animal lover. Okay. So all right. So what kind of things did you eat when you were in Puerto Vallarta? Where'd you guys go? Because you didn't do the all inclusive, so
Yes, we wanted to experience the culture.
good.
So
You
one
know-
of the first, what was it? One of the first places that we went to eat breakfast at.
Well, we went out to eat breakfast, and we asked actually the concierge, like, we want to get out and we want to go, and they took us to Puerto Vallarta to eat at this place called the Pancake House. So one of the concerns is when they told us the Pancake House is like, I don't want to go to IHOP while we're in Mexico, and they assured us, no, this is a place where they do have pancakes, but it's also a local, typical.
They're going to have typical food,
And that was really good. I had los huevos rancheros, and you had a different Mexican one. I can't remember
either, but I know there was beans in there.
Yeah, and it was good. So how about your daughters? Were they easy to please?
Well, that's what was good about it. It was safe for them. Like, we were able to get them pancakes and eggs.
And yeah, as long as they were scrambled eggs with some toast or bread, they will be fine for breakfast. At least something that they were familiar with. But then they would also venture out and try our foods, or we would encourage them.
Yeah. You'd kind of feed them. Say, hey, check this out, right? Taste this.
Exactly.
So Memo's Pancake House has been there a long, long time, and actually, unfortunately, Memo just passed away last week, I heard. But it is being run by family, and it's going to carry on. So, all right, very cool. That was a good that was a good suggestion by the concierge. What else? Where else did you go?
Then we made a couple of reservations. Some restaurants we wanted to try out. We heard either from you guys or from TripAdvisor. And so the first one that we went to and we celebrated our youngest daughter's birthday was Café de Artis. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct.
Yes.
And this was wonderful.
No, yeah, that's where they had their steak meal.
Yeah,
without complaining.
This is more a little bit of an upscale.
Right.
It wasn't very typical Mexican food, but the reviews and the recommendations for this places were great, and it certainly lived up to them.
Yeah. So what did you eat when you went there? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
I know. It's been a long time. You guys were there in September, so I'm pushing it here. I know it, but
I remember that. I think I had the steak as well. I just had a steak and mash, so I just had a typical American meal there.
No, but we did order an appetizer. We did order some appetizers that were typical, like because we all ordered steak.
Yeah.
We all ordered steak. But we did order, I don't remember exactly what appetizer it was. It almost looked like some avocado something. I know it was with avocado, but it was everything I had there. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Well, they make anything that they put on a plate. They make it look like a piece of art. You guys, it's really it is a fascinating restaurant.
Yeah. So all the plates, we do have a picture here. We're seeing all the plates. They look like an artist's palette. And they bring it out, and and you see, the way that the food is stationed, that is very beautiful. And then at the end, when they have the dessert, that's the thing we remember the most, when they came to celebrate my daughter's birthday and they sing her happy birthday. They come out with a musician and a harp, and he sings, and they bring this massive. It must be 4 feet, 5 feet long. No.
Let's say
4 feet. like a painter's palette with it had the French macaroons on them, and it had this a pyrotechnic candle, like one of these firework candles, and this sugar candy sculpture that we were all just tearing apart and eating. And it was great. The experience was wonderful.
Amazing. It's amazing what they do with the food there. And yeah, isn't it a little bit shocking when they light off some fireworks right in the middle of your table?
No, my daughter was, this is all for me. It's the best day ever. And we set the tone high. I think that was our first, nice restaurant, and she thought it was going to be like that every night.
Oh yeah, that's hard when you set up expectations like that with your kids, and then all of a sudden you take them to a taco stand, right?
Yes.
All right, so Café de Artistas, where else did you go?
Another night that we went out to eat, we went to Gaby's restaurant. This is another one that had great reviews and a lot of great recommendations. And this one had more typical Mexican food. And the thing that first captured my attention is the view. When they sit you on this balcony, it's on the second or third floor. You're seeing through this street out into the ocean. So you have this beautiful view of the old Vallarta buildings and architecture. And at the end of it, you're seeing the ocean. And if we made it at a great time that we get there and there's a lot of daylight, and then we can see the sunset while we're having dinner. So that was great.
Very good. Yeah, I love Gaby's. And it's, if you're looking for a traditional Mexican food restaurant, they've got it. They've got all the traditional dishes there.
Yes, I remember I had carne asada, which I always like, and we had rice and beans, and I remember that drink, the margarita.
It was a green margarita. That was the first time that when I've gone to in Puerto Vallarta, I would ask for a margarita, and all I knew was like the regular traditional margarita. But they're like, "What flavor do you want?" And I'm like, "There's flavors? How many flavors?" They're like, and they started listing them, and I'm like, "Well, which one do you recommend?" So I would always just taste the one that they would recommend. So, so like at that particular place, I don't remember. I know it was a green margarita. I don't remember what it was called, but it was good. I finished it.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right. Very cool. Yeah, they've got also some great raicilla over there as well. All right. So how many days were you there? How many days were you in Puerto Vallarta?
We were there 7 days.
Okay.
We were there 7 days.
Excellent. Okay. So, how about how about any other breakfasts or something, or am I
for breakfast? The rest of the time for breakfast, we pretty much stayed at the resort. We would try to venture out for dinner, mostly at the resort. We would have lunches by the pool where they had a little bar there that had a few typical Mexican foods, like you could get a burrito or a quesadilla, but they also had some American dishes, and or we would have breakfast there, or sometimes breakfast in the room. But mostly for dinner is where we would venture out. We would go out. We also visited Barcelona Tapas, another that was highly recommended, and we ate a lot as well at El Malecón, at the different food stands.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about the ones that they have set up during the evenings.
Yeah, during the evenings, yes.
Yeah, very neat, very nifty. So Barcelona Tapas, now that's got a great view. That's got a great view, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking at a photo here that with a sunset that they took. They have a photographer that comes around and takes complimentary photos, and I really recommend it because we took a photo with our own camera, and our photos don't do justice, but theirs does. And there's a beautiful sunset behind us, and that one, yes, it's I think that one's higher up, so you see from above the buildings, you can see the entire ocean from there. It was wonderful.
Nice. Yeah, I have all of their pictures, by the way. They sent me some really great photos, and I'll have them as well in the show notes in the blog post that I produced for this episode. Any other dinners, or did we cover them all?
I think that's all the ones that we remember.
That's the ones that were the highlights, because the other ones, like even for breakfast, we went to a supermarket. We went to a market and we bought some pastries, some of the typical things that we would never, we wouldn't eat normally, and got cereal, things like that, so that way we can have in our room to snack on.
Sure. Because you have kids, it's harder. It's harder to move around with them too. I've been to Puerto Vallarta with kids.
Right. So it was just always making sure we had extra food and snacks and available, not having to go and get on a taxi and to look around for food. So we did that. I think it was the first day we went to a mercado. We went to a supermarket.
It's called Farmacia Guadalajara is where we went, and it's I guess a pharmacy and a grocery store. And we were able to find a lot of things there. We bought water there. We bought food for the room.
Good. Okay, so all right. Speaking of that, how'd you get around? Was it mostly taxi?
We would take from the resort. We would take taxi because they had, I guess, a pre-negotiated rate. Like we would say, oh, we want to go to this location or that location, and it was always almost the same rate. But to return to the room, we actually used Uber. Like we Ubered here, and we found out that you could use it over there, and it went really well. So we do just pull out our phone and get an Uber and go back to our room. When we were out, that's what we would use.
Excellent. All right. Now, tell me a little bit about Uber. How was the response time once we got out your phone?
I found it to be instantaneous. It's the same as here. There would be an Uber driver a block away, and it would be minutes when you're getting on an Uber. And that way, I knew exactly what I was paying. You know, the app tells me what the rate is. And I did find it even more economical than the prearranged prices that the resort had.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad to hear that you had a good experience with Uber. Now, did you tip the guy after you were done, or did you just do the app price and done with it?
Yeah, I would do the app price, and when we went was when the app started giving you the option to tip from the app. So any place that we could go that we can get away with using a credit card, we would do it. I think that was one of the recommendations that I heard from your podcast, that's one of the best ways to get the exchange rate. So we tried to do that. We would tip from the app.
Okay, good. All right. So excellent. That's good to know because I'm going to be there in a couple of weeks and I'm planning on using Uber too. Did you have any bad experiences while you were there? Anything? Because we all talk about the happy. Anything bad happen?
There is one story.
Okay, here I go. All right.
Well, I like to try different kinds of food. I'm the adventurous person, and actually, Mexican food is one of my favorite foods, but I don't think it agreed with me in Mexico. One of the first things that I tried was the elote. What is it? The corn on the cob.
Yes. It's the
yes, the elote with them, and we had it at Tamalecon. We went and we were walking, and the girls had some sausage with French fries, and we had something else. And I'm like, oh, let me try that because I've heard so much about it. Let me try it. Oh my gosh. That night I thought I was going to die.
Oh no.
So my stomach, it just did not sit on me really well at all. But after that, the food everywhere else that we ate, all the other restaurants, they were really good. But that was, every time I see that picture, I'm like, it's a beautiful picture of a beautiful elote.
Do I have that picture? Do I have that picture?
Yes, you do.
All right, you guys, look for it then, because you're going to see it. You're going to see what happened there.
Yes.
All right.
That kind of scared us a little bit from than trying street food.
Right.
Like we wanted to book one of these food tours, but
for food trucks. But I told him,
not food trucks. I think it's a food tour that they take you to.
They take you to taco stands.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I said, you know what? Let's not do any street vendors or any, especially with kids. I was just concerned I was like, I'm glad it was me that got sick and not the kids.
Sure.
So I'm like, let's not risk it. Let's not take any more chances on that. So
Lucia, I got to say you're pretty brave. I mean, most people look at that dish and they go, really? So you're very brave to have tried it. I have to tell you that. That's pretty cool.
funny because my husband's like, you don't need to finish it. It was only like $1. And I'm like,
Yeah, throw it away. It's okay. Don't
Throw it
worry. Somebody
away.
give it to someone else. It's okay. Someone will take it. Believe me. Someone will take
and I was
it.
like, no, I gotta finish it. I don't know if I ended up finishing it or not, but I know I took more than 2 or 3 bites.
Oh, poor. That's sad. I know. And that's too bad because you know what? Street food in Puerto Vallarta is so good. So that's too bad that happened. All right. So what would you say to other parents with young kids who are thinking about bringing them to Puerto Vallarta? Would you suggest they do that? Would you do that again?
Oh, yes. I would recommend it. I found, you go to a foreign country and the first, especially with kids, and that first day, there is some nervousness, but quickly, I'm not saying that you should be careless, but quickly I found it to be a perfect place for a family with children. I felt like that entire community, to me, I pictured it like tourism is their bread and butter, and they want to protect, whatever the image that they have. So it felt very safe. Even one time that we went to a beach called Playa de los Muertos, because we wanted to go to a beach where
The locals
go, and it was full of families that they to us they look like these are
the locals,
residents.
Yeah, but they live there.
And they could see from us. They see me. I'm blonde with blue eyes, and my youngest is blonde. That I guess that we're not from there, and everyone there was very friendly. We felt safe that we could leave our stroller with our belongings. And so any nervousness that I might have had going there was quickly gone, and I felt foolish for feeling that way.
And we were also I think we were also very careful. Like I would tell him not to stay out too late. I didn't want to stay out past 10:30. We would also put perimeters to our outings,
Mm-hmm.
because we wanted to also be preventative and be careful, because we did feel safe. I felt safe, and obviously the first couple of days when we would go anywhere, people are very friendly. They're asking you a lot of questions and they want to get to know you. So I was very hesitant. I wouldn't share too much about myself. But then as I got comfortable and I realized, these people are friendly and they're really friendly and nice people. Very welcoming. So, I felt at ease to, say, oh, I'm from Miami, and just, yes, I'm here with my family. So I felt at ease.
Yeah. And I guess an advantage that we have is that we speak Spanish. So that kind of, I guess, aids as well. But even with that, I would say they're very, tourism is something that they want to protect there. So I felt very safe with going with kids. And if you plan correctly, and I think that's why your podcast and, and researching and with other resources, I think if you plan well, the kids are going to get tired. You need to plan when you're going to go back to your resort and just relax by the pool or in the room. But you can do a lot of different activities. You don't have to feel that you're not going to be able to adventure out. And I think that we did. I think that we were able to do a lot with kids and without much difficulty.
It sounds like you got a lot done. Would you do anything differently at all?
I don't know of anything. The only thing I think that we missed out was that doing the food tour. But I think everything that we set out to do, we were able to accomplish. I recommend
maybe a little bit more shopping time. Besides that, I think I got all my shopping in. But I don't think we could. I don't think I feel like I missed out or there was anything that could have been better. Or
the Malecón was one thing that I did want to walk the whole thing. So with kids, what we did is that we spread it out. We did it over 3 nights. Like we would go out to dinner, and like one time before dinner, we did a portion of it and go have dinner so they wouldn't get too tired. We did take an umbrella stroller, which was easy to put in a taxi and take around for our youngest. And then another night that we would go out to dinner, we would do the same thing in another section, and we were able to do the entire thing and experience the entire Malecón and that night atmosphere.
Yeah. Oh, great idea. That is, because it's a long walk for kids. Because how old are your kids again?
9 and 5. Well, she was the youngest one was turning 6 that week, so she, she.
All right.
So,
well, they're active enough, right? They're not
right.
Yeah. Okay. But there you go. All right. So.
For after a long day, like out in the sun, and like making them walk more, but they were able to, when we separated, broke it out, they were able to get it done.
Okay, so what was your overall impression of Puerto Vallarta? Would you go back again?
Yeah, well, it's funny that you asked, right before we went on, we have here the pictures in front of us, and we were looking at it, and we were saying, Lucia was saying, you were saying,
no, I'm like, I will do this all over again.
Yeah, that we want to go back.
I would love to go back.
Our next vacations we're planning, we want to go see different places if we can. We can't do one of these every year, but if we had the opportunity to go back, I think we would. It was amazing.
Cool. So, all right. So I'm nosy. Where do you want to go next time you go somewhere?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Okay. No. Well, you'll have to let us know where you do go. What kind of advice, now that you've been to Puerto Vallarta, what kind of advice would you give to a first-time visitor?
Well, I'm the planner. I always recommend try to do your research, and I think that Puerto Vallarta, there was a lot of resources. We actually put this vacation together pretty quickly. I would say we planned it within a month and a half. Like we were there, like the year's going to pass by and we haven't vacationed, and our friend offered us this. And then, so I found your podcast pretty quick. I just went on iTunes and searched Puerto Vallarta, and I found you. And I used TripAdvisor, and there were some top 10 videos on YouTube that we found. And with family, I always, what I recommend, do your research, try to plan as much as possible, but leave a lot of margin. With kids, you have to leave margin. If you try to do too much, it's not going to work. And it takes away from the opportunity of doing anything spontaneous if you see anything. But, I'm not trying to suck up Barry, but I would say listen to your podcast. You have a lot of great things. I still remember the great advice you gave about the airport, about the money exchange there and that Shark Tank. I remember telling Lucia.
You were walking through it, and he goes, "This is the Shark Tank. This is the Shark Tank."
Just skip through it.
That's cool.
That would be my advice. I find it therapeutic planning a vacation. So it's almost like you start feeling
the euphoria,
the euphoria or the effects of vacation. So that's my advice. What about you, baby?
Well, for me, like, I think that we make a good team just because I'm the spontaneous one. I like to, let's go check that out. Like if we're walking or something comes up, or if somebody tells us something at the front desk, they recommend this, and so we make a good team because he'll research and then he'll say, let me look it up. And I'm like, see what Yelp says or whatever, have you heard about this? And he'll tell me, yes, I have. So, he always, I feel like we make a good team in that sense that he's the planner and researcher, and I'm look what I found. So,
yeah. All right. Well, that's good. We all need that. My wife is the same way. So she's I'm the planner, and she's the spontaneous one. So yeah. What were you going to say? You were going to say something there.
No, it was just David. That. It was just to repeat about that. I think that with kids, if you're going to do it, my advice is to do the research so that you go ahead kind of prepared, but leave that margin. You never know when you need to go back to the room so someone can take a nap or get some rest, so that, you know, we all know that those of us who have kids, that if we push them a little too much, the experience could become difficult. If everyone gets cranky, and just leave margin, leave time to rest, and I think things will go well.
Excellent. All right. Well, you two have been so nice to give, so much of your time to come on the show and talk to me and talk to my audience about what it's like traveling with kids in Puerto Vallarta. You're my first kid couple interview, so I truly appreciate you both coming on, and I appreciate you being listeners and reaching out to me and tweeting to me. That was pretty cool. So, was there anything else is there anything I missed at all here? As long as we're here and talking and everything like that, I'd hate to miss anything.
Well, I do want to. There was one restaurant we didn't talk about. If I could bring it up, because a coworker, he sits right next to me. He's the MLS director in Miami. His name is Bill Cole, and he once went, and I didn't know he had gone, and I said, oh, we're gonna go to Puerto Vallarta, and he said, like, oh, we've gone, it's great. He discovered it because he used to love the Love Boat, and the restaurant is called Peepee's. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
You're right.
It sounds almost inappropriate.
I know, right? It's got the funniest name. Yeah, Peepee's. Yeah.
And this is a small little restaurant. Well, it's not small; it's big.
Not small.
But the coolest thing is that they come out when you get there, and they make the guacamole right in front of you. And it's like a little dinner show, and the food was excellent, the service was excellent, and we were there for lunch. It was actually one of the times that we went out for lunch. And the way they have their windows, there was this breeze coming in, because we went in August. It was very hot, the way that they were set up, it was a nice breeze in there, so it was a great experience. And there, the margarita Lucia
the margarita was like to share with 10 people. It was like
great.
A
large soup bowl.
They're huge. I know.
They're huge, but they were really good. That one was really good.
They have a great mariachis there too. I imagine they weren't there for lunch, but in the evenings, they've got a great mariachi band over there.
Yeah.
All right. Peepees. Yeah. All right. Well, that's good, big food.
Yes. It was a big serving. A lot of food.
Yeah. All right. Was there anything else? Anything else that we missed?
No. Well, besides another thing that I just realized, the weather, because you had mentioned that
you just said you were there in August. Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Well, I was concerned because you had an episode, Barry, about going in the summer.
Yeah.
It was all about it. And you had said, because with parents, with kids, it's difficult during the school year. So it's the summer months pretty much when you have the opportunity of vacation. So were they like...
No, I remember I think you called me. You go, it's going to be raining every day we're there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no.
I didn't say all day, David. I just said for a couple of hours.
We were concerned about it because it would rain, and about the heat and humidity. The heat and humidity, we weren't so concerned because here in Miami, it's 80% humidity all the time. But we were concerned about the rain, that we wouldn't get many activities. But Barry, I think it rained only twice in the 7 days we were there. And it was just short afternoon showers. Besides that,
the weather
it was sunny skies, and we loved it. So all we had to deal with really was the humidity. One funny story about the humidity, I would recommend this.
Yeah.
Don't leave your patio doors open because the humidity was more than what we experienced here, and we left it open one afternoon, and then when we looked, the entire room was soaked. Everything, the TV, everything was covered in water. It's like, oh my goodness, we're gonna damage this TV and all of everything in here. But
it's amazing how humid it is there. It's like swimming. It is. It's like you guys, yeah. Well, all right. Well, but you're used to it. You Miami residents, you know what it's like over there.
Yeah.
No, but thank goodness it was the weather was, it was good. It was hot, but that's what I expected, So I got my tan.
Yeah, excellent.
We got our tan.
All right, you guys. You guys have been so nice with your time, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate your reaching out to me once again. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for having us, Barry.
Thank you.
All right, okay. Well, thank you, David and Lucia. Wow, you guys you really know how to fit a whole lot into a week with 2 kids. You guys did a great job. Now, I have some really great pictures of the Garcia family in the show notes, as well as a link to their photo album, which David sent me a link to their Bitly photo album. And you're going to find a whole bunch of photos that they took on their vacation. And David is a fantastic photographer, and the colors of these pictures are just fabulous. You're going to get a really good idea of what it's like traveling with kids in Puerto Vallarta. Thank you for sharing that album. It's really cool, David. And thank you, Lucia. Thank you so much. Okay, well, that should do it for this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. Next week, stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips and great restaurant and excursion ideas and more. And until then, remember that this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something that I should be talking about, please reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending us your message. And remember, if you're considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you must go to vallartainfo.com, that's JR's website, and reserve your tour through him right from his website. Remember, this is a value-for-value proposition, my friends. JR's experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through JR as a way of saying thank you. Thanks for being our guide. It costs no more than if you were going to be using someone else. So just do it, really. And when you do take one of those tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time and subscribe and give me a good review on iTunes, if you would. That way we can get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And remember, I made it easy for you to do that with each episode that I create. And if you haven't been to my website, you really have to go and have a look there. I have links to all the places that we talk about. I have pictures and more right there in the show notes, in the blog posts that I create for each and every episode that I make. So check it out, really. Okay? All right. Well, thank you again to listeners David and Lucia Garcia. Check out those great pictures in the show notes of this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. And thank you to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler signing off with the wish for all of you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Vallarta.